Time for your Good to Know segment. Doctors have long recommended taking an aspirin every day to lower your risk of heart attack and stroke. But now we're hearing that may do more harm than good. Here's NBC News medical correspondent Dr. John Torres.
It's long-standing advice followed by millions of Americans. An aspirin a day can prevent a first heart attack. But now, a major about-face. New guidelines from the American Heart Association now say adults over 70 should not be taking the drug.
Aspirin isn't harmless.
The new recommendation comes after 3 large studies found that aspirin did not prevent heart attacks and strokes in older adults. In fact, taking it every day raised the risk of serious harm like stomach and brain bleeding. Those who should not take aspirin include people over 70, anyone who does not have heart disease, anyone at risk for bleeding.
For someone who's taking aspirin right now, what should they do?
People who are taking aspirin should not just stop. They should have a conversation with their physician and really determine their individual risk versus benefit.